This is Paul. Yes. The court shall allow the parties to submit information and shall consider all relevant factors, including whether domestic violence has occurred and is likely to continue, and which state should best protect the parties and the child. Yes. How long the child resided outside this state? Well, if he resided since September of 2010, yes, until July of 2011. Then he resided in Guam 10 months. Yes. How long did he? He didn't reside in Clallam County. May would be 5 months. Yes, it would. 9 months. Oh, the distance between the courts. Well, considering I lived on the parties' relative financial circumstances, the nature and location of evidence. Now, when you issued this protection order, yes, where was the nature and the evidence? I mean, where's the police report from my arrest in July 2nd of 2011? Was it on Guam? Yes. See, Benjamin actually lived on Guam longer than he lived in the state of Washington. Now, I would say each court's familiarity with the facts and issues, RCW 26.2726. Huge. Now, when you issue a dissolution on May 24th, yes, and Heidi got here on the 3rd of July, that would be August, September, October, November, December, 5 months, 9 months. But when we lived on Guam from August 9th, I think the date was, yes, 2010. Pooh-wee! Which of the two locations actually did know more about the parties named in the dissolution of marriage? Now, since I wasn't given any notice or opportunity to be heard before you issued the protection order, yes, I don't think the court had any idea. Now, the court must recognize and enforce custody determinations of another state, United States territory, and the jurisdiction is substantial conformity with the UCCJEA. Now, a court without jurisdiction to modify a custody determination may issue a temporary order enforcing a visitation. Yeah. And there is some expedited enforcement available. Now, I'm just looking through this. Yes, the custody determination has not been registered and confirmed under. When you issued a dissolution of marriage where I didn't get any notice, did you actually register that with some sort of governing body? The issuing court did not have jurisdiction. Did you have jurisdiction to issue a dissolution of marriage on May 24th when I wasn't? This was not my home state for 6 months. Ow! When we actually. The custody determination has been vacated, stayed, or modified by a court with jurisdiction. The respondent was entitled but did not receive notice in the court which issued the determination. Now, as a respondent of a protection order, yes. When I didn't get notice of the July 8th hearing, yes. And I didn't get notice of the permanent court hearing on August 12th, I think it was. Yes. Did you actually issue a custody order where I was not given any notice? Well, I think that violates the UCCJEA. I think it really does. Pooch. Now, the determination was registered and confirmed, but it has been vacated, stayed, or modified. Now, when I did not, as a respondent, receive notice in the court which issued the determination for the protection order, yes. And you served me at the same moment as arresting me, yes. Then you modified it a week later, or you actually renewed it, yes. And you used a minute order and you reissued a permanent protection order without waiting for the verdict of the fucking jury. I'm thinking your actual dissolution of marriage, yes, happens to violate. Now, this orders. Hang on just for a second. I put an emergency stamp here. The all order requiring law enforcement to take physical and requires a writ of habeas corpus. Yes, the court shall award the prevailing party necessary and reasonable expenses unless the award be. The court must give full faith and credit to an order issued by another state enforcing a custody Yes. Now, every state of the United States has had to enforce these protection orders without any due process to myself. Yes. When this wasn't my home state. Yes. And then, unless the court enters a temperate, the enforcing court may not stay enforcement pending appeal. Ooch. I just wanted to know. You sure this isn't child abduction using abusive process? Now, custodial interference and kidnapping. B, yes, on page, domestic violence manual, 1027. Now, I got a lot of markings on this one. A national study of state and federal laws reported that there are over 200,000 cases of child abduction by family members per year. Now, when parents take their children in domestic violence cases, the abductions usually occur in one of two contexts. Abusers take the children in order to harm victims further. Or victims flee with their children in an effort to protect themselves and their children from batterers. Yes. One action is vindictive while the other is protective. Let's say Heidi took a vindictive action where I had an evaluation on Guam and I did 7 hours of parenting classes. I would say that it was vindictive to take my sons, while calling the police and making up a story of domestic violence and child abuse. Yes. Fleeing the domestic violence to abduct them to Clallam County where you issued a protection order. Now, I know the county doesn't believe this, but custodial interference and kidnapping is real. Ooch. When you decide to issue a protection order where I'm not given notice and opportunity to be heard, yes. You decided to issue a dissolution of marriage where I wasn't here for 6 months, yes. And then you decide to continue to put me in fucking jail every